avoid wasting financial resources again, all right, for all these unnecessary type of riders. Hi everyone, I'm Mike from Haven. I'm the lead insurance specialist. So today I'm going to share more about, do more life insurance rider equals to better coverage? So we are going to debunk the myth today. All right. So the key learning point for today will be more of to understand what is an insurance rider, all right, and the different type of riders in the market, all right, and of course, lastly, about how we evaluate the needs for the riders. So let us go through the introduction of what is life insurance rider, all right. So typically, rider is actually quite important in life insurance because in the typical life insurance, the coverage is the base plan, which is usually the death cover, all right? And of course, some of the plans actually do have certain compulsory rider to be embedded into the base plan, all right? This usually happens, more often happens in the cash value plans. For example, let's say endowment plan or even retirement plan. All right, they actually embed the permanent disability features. So in the event that the policyholder or life assured is disabled, right, the premium will waive. These are some of the examples. All right, the more common one will be more of using the optional rider where we can add on. All right, so is to actually to enhance the coverage within the policy itself. Okay. And of course, the myth for today is whether the more riders equals to better coverage, or is it the more the merrier, right? So the thing is, we need to focus back in quality over the quantity in the rider selections, all right, to ensure that the riders that we select meet our needs. That's the most important thing, all right? And of course, we need to constantly review whether the actual cover is crucial, because sometimes at the point of time where we purchase the policy, right, we might think that this is important to us, but over the times we might find that this is something that it can be redundant, and of course, whether do we really need it, review is actually very much needed. All right, next will be more of a consumer awareness, and of course through education, right? We need to consumer need to one day have to understand what they actually buy, right? So in terms when there's a need for claims, right? Usually people start to find out what they have. So rather to do a last minute check, why not to have constantly understand what we have bought, all right, through regular review, all right, and of course to assess our needs for the riders that's being attached to the plan as well. And of course, different type of life insurance, right? They actually have different type of rider options, right? And some with early critical illness, some with severe critical illness, and some with disability or even medical health benefits, all right? And some of the plans may not even offer riders, right? So these are usually some of the cash value plans. For example, let's say ILPs, right, investment linked policy, they may not offer riders. Okay, so in terms of rider, there's two types. One is the accelerated type of riders, all right? The more common types of accelerated riders we see, right, common is total and permanent disability coverage and also critical illness coverage. All right, so let's give an example. How does it do, accelerated riders, all right? So assuming that the plan details is there's a base plan. All right, so for example, there's a base plan and the coverage, let's assume, is 1 million, all right? And the rider, this is basically the rider, all right, that covers critical illness coverage for 300,000. All right, so in terms of this scenario, so when claiming critical illness, right, 300,000 will be paid out, and this will be deducted from the death coverage. All right, so leaving the remaining death cover of 700,000. Okay, so this is what we mean by accelerated type of riders. Next, the second one will be additional riders, all right? So riders that offer additional insurance benefits. Sometimes most common we can see is a critical illness, disability income, hospital cash benefit, and sometimes even medical benefit as well, personal accident, Premium waiver, assuming let's say critical illness strike, the premium of the entire plan will be waived off, and even payer waiver benefit. For example, parent purchase the insurance for the children, alright, and halfway through, the parents, for example, suffered certain critical illness or even disability, right? Premium will be waived as well. So maybe let me give you another example, all right? Using the same example, base plan, or we call the death cover, $1 million, all right? Additional critical illness cover, 300,000, right? So in this number one scenario, when we claim for critical illness, right, this rider will be terminated and 300,000 will be paid out, all right? Will be paid out to the policyholder, all right? So what this means is the death coverage still remain $1 million cover. In the scenario 2, all right, let's say we claim for death cover, all right, of course, being the person already passes on, $1 million will be paid out, all right, and of course, the entire plan will be terminated, all right. So even this is the additional type of rider, it will not stay, all right, it will not stay. So once the main plan is terminated, everything will be terminated as well. And of course, critical illness rider, being critical illness rider, can only claim upon critical illness. All right, for this case, early demise, 1 million payout, that's it. 300,000 won't be paying out as well. All right, so next, let us evaluate the key needs for the riders. All right, number one is the extent of insurance, all right, because protection is the primary purpose for insurance, all right. Our philosophy of insurance planning for Haven is really the 5 core areas of protections, all right. And next, we need to identify what is the financial impact, all right. If let's say we get the rider, if we don't cover this risk, how is it going to impact us financially, all right. So in Haven, we really focus on life crises that cause financial strain to the family or even ourselves, right? If if the risks are small, right? For example, visiting a GP for a common flu or even fever, right? If we can self-insure that area, I think it's pretty fine. But assuming that having a critical illness that causes us not be able to work, all right, that will basically means that it's a financial strain to us already, because probably we will lose our job, no income flow coming in, right? And eventually we have to use our own savings for living expenses, all right? And of course, in Haven, we prioritize our 5 CPA, which is 5 core protection area. All right, so in terms of protection areas, right, we need to differentiate as well. What are temporary and permanent needs, all right? Of course, temporary is something that we need temporary during our working period, for example, income replacement, whereas permanently is something that we need throughout our lifetimes, right? For example, H&S, hospital and surgical plan, all right? So going into the hospital and leaving the hospital will basically cause us a huge financial impact, because the medical bill is going to cost a lot of money. Okay, so next we need to understand how much and how long we need to have this insurance coverage as well. All right, so it does plays a part when we are evaluating all these riders. So next will be understanding what is the pro and cons in terms of adding these riders, right? So number one, we need to understand what are the kind of insurance rider are appropriate. For example, the right riders will basically provide us the adequate protection, right, to meet our needs. All right, if the riders doesn't meet our needs, right, then it doesn't suit us actually, yeah. And next is actually to prevent overspending. You know, sometimes we add a lot of riders. You know, it can be a 5-6 different type of riders, and all these riders are an add-on cost, right? But does those riders that we really need, all right? For example, hospital cash benefits, all right? That's something that we may not need it, all right? For example, if let's say we are working in the corporate, right? We have corporate insurance, right? Going to hospital may already cover under the corporate insurance already. And this adding our own personal insurance, right, we may not even need to have that form of riders, right? That's an example on it. Okay, of course, selection of riders, right? We need to understand our individual needs and also the rider's benefit so that it's cohesive, right? And of course, we need to prioritize which are the more important one, all right? For example, we mentioned the risks that will cause financial impact, all right? And we tackle this area, all right? Of course, if let's say we have more financial resources, we can go to the next few riders if our financial position allows us to. And of course, lastly, it's better to actually avoid wasting financial resources again, all right, for all these unnecessary type of riders, okay, and so that we can use the fund wisely, all right, on other important areas. For example, building our savings pot or even retirement pot. And last, conclusion, right? So to make an informed choice on riders, right? So first we need to understand the insurance fundamental, all right? Ultimately, insurance serves as a form of protection tools, right? We need to identify the major financial impact, all right? Next is to have a planning framework for insurance to really differentiate temporary and permanent needs, all right? And of course, ensure that we have adequate protections and fit for individual, all right? Of course, for the disadvantage for redundant riders, right? So it's a potential waste of resource, and we need to review regularly. So we need to review so that we understand that if we are wasting too much financial resources on certain part of our insurance plan, as we know that insurance is a cost, and if the riders are not doing the work for us, right? And it's a small risk to cover, we can choose to terminate it. And of course, we need to minimize costs and maximize the coverage lah. So, and lastly, we need to ensure that we need to cover the essential one, and for optional one is really based on personal needs as well. So thank you for today's sessions. If you have any doubt and any question, right, do write in to haven.com/contacts. All right. Thank you, everyone. Okay, 来 I'm ready, Cullen. So that's all for today. Thank you.